Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Justice Minister shows challenges facing the prison system are being addressed. Good news for CDAP recipients. And the curtains come down on local government consultations. In our top story, the Minister of Justice, Senator the Honourable Chrislyn Moore, is assuring citizens that the challenges facing the prison system are being and will continue to be addressed. She gives the assurance following meetings held between her ministry and the prisons service.
Senator Moore reveals several meetings have been held among stakeholders to ensure the prison system operates as it should. The minister says she has met with the Commissioner of Prisons, Martin Martinez, to discuss the development of a prison security plan and issues surrounding the implementation of the plan. She acknowledges there are challenges to be faced, but insists these challenges will be overcome.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago, the Prisons Services Association, prison officers, prison executive, Ministry of Justice, we appreciate that there are challenges, but we are steadfastly moving incrementally to addressing all of these challenges. Some of them are initiatives that you may never hear about because they have a national security component. Others you may hear about in the media. Some of them we will not disclose, nor will we talk about, again, for national security reasons. But the question of prison security is paramount. It bleeds into confidence in the system, in the prison system, confidence that we at the ministry have for officers and for their professionalism.
Minister Moore pledges her ministry's commitment to taking a holistic approach to addressing security in the prison system. She explains that the persons in the system should not be simply treated as prisoners, but also as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Our continued commitment towards restorative justice, because security is inextricably linked with our ability to provide for our clients and inextricably linked with our ability to recognize that our clients not only reside in the prison system, but they are citizens as well.
The Justice Minister indicates some of the more immediate matters which have been addressed by the stakeholders.
Matters including perimeter fencing. It would have included the imminent closure of Carrera. It would have included matters of safety and security for officers on the various plants.
Prisons Commissioner Martin Martinez says the use of cell phones in prisons is one of the major issues they plan to tackle firstly.
The whole issue of the proliferation of cell phones within the prison system, and that is being managed in a particular way. What with the approval to have cell phone jammers and grabbers, for example? What with the special search squad that we have in place to deal with searching out and finding the unauthorized cell phones in our jurisdiction.
Mr. Martinez says the technology to jam and intercept the cell phone calls will be implemented at the Remand, Maximum Security and the Frederick Street prisons. He assures that the technology will be operated by trained prisons officers and would not affect surrounding areas. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Patients will soon receive a smart card for the filling of their prescriptions from local health institutions. Health Minister Dr. Fouad Khan made the announcement during the weekly post-cabinet media briefing as the ministry embarks on plans to weed out duplications of prescriptions in the system.
A special steering committee will be appointed to review the current Pharmaceutical Aid Chronic Disease Assistance Program, CDAP. Health Minister Dr. Fouad Khan says this is necessary as it looks to remove the duplication of prescriptions as well as iron out other kinks in the system. He notes this will be done through the introduction of a smart card containing all patient information.
What we do have in mind to link the doctor's prescriptions, doctors as well as the pharmacy's activity and the patient activity via a smart card, which was in the initial proposal of the CDAP, where one goes to a medical practitioner and receives a prescription that will be on a patient card. That patient will go to the pharmacy. It will be linked directly, so all the pharmacies will be linked to the main center in C40.
The minister says the main reasoning for the committee is the oversight of the program's efficiency.
The cabinet has approved the steering committee, which will comprise of the permanent secretary, the chief medical officer, the director of health policy and planning, the director of finance and accounts, a representative of the information and communication technology department, director of chemistry, food and drugs, various managers from the pharmacy bodies, and also a member of the lay public. So we are going to be monitoring the CDAP program as an item for efficiency and also accountability.
Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Application to the Town and Country Planning Division will now take 60 days for processing, at least. This according to Planning and Development Minister Dr. Buhindradat Tiwari, who says transformation of the division will now facilitate a smoother flow of applications, appeals, approvals, and other services.
Steps are being taken to ensure the application process at the Town and Country Planning Division of the Ministry of Planning and Development are made easier. Speaking at the weekly post-cabinet media briefing, Dr. Buhindradat Tiwari made the announcement stating the changes as government looks to reform the division to a more efficient one. He says government is reviewing legislation as the bill was before the Legislative Review Committee. Minister Tiwari notes the backlog for 2012 has been cleared and speeding up the application process for approvals will take no longer than 60 days.
What we've been trying to do for some time now is to reduce the backlog and bring the business of planning permission for citizens, whether they are citizens who are building a home or whether they are developers who are developing larger projects. What we've been seeking to do is to bring this under control, first of all, by dealing with the backlog, and secondly, by bringing things up to date and streamlining the process. Because of this now, no applications will take more than 2 months to process. So we are given a 60-day limit for the processing of all applications. And we are also streamlining others to take less than 30 days, and yet others to take 20 days.
Minister Tiwari says the plan incorporates moves to bring town and country services closer to rural communities as part of an outreach program. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
When we come back, we focus on a better seafood industry. Stay with us. Welcome back. Trinidad and Tobago can look forward to a better developed seafood industry as the Ministry of Food Production has taken steps to stimulate the local sector.
The Ministry of Food Production, Fisheries Division, is focusing its attention on developing a strong local seafood industry. Its latest initiative will see the Seafood Industry Development Company Limited and the Sugarcane Feed Centre step up their operations to meet an increasing local demand for seafood products.
We do not produce enough tilapia in Trinidad to meet or match our local consumption. If I remember correctly, the local production is close to 22 tons per year, and the consumption is close to 135 tons per year. So clearly, it's a huge shortfall, and it presents an opportunity for the tilapia farmers there.
China has been viewed as a cheaper, more reliable source for the importation of fillet, which is boneless pieces of fish that is in high demand in Trinidad and Tobago. Citizens have been calling for reductions in the prices of fish locally, and data shows that 60 to 65% of production costs are due to the purchasing of feed. On Wednesday, it was announced that the SIDC has embarked on a major project to import high-quality feed at a reasonable price that local farmers can then purchase from the company to help offset the exorbitant costs associated with local products.
We are looking at the sector, and one of the The initiatives we're looking at is tilapia feed initiative of the Ministry of Food Production, utilizing SIDC, whereby we are importing the feed and really not adding any profits on it, so that the tilapia farmers would be able to get an affordable feed in an attempt to bring down their cost of production, so that we be more competitive to the foreign import.
Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Councillors should play a greater role in ensuring their burgesses have a say on local government reform. This is one of the views being expressed as public consultations on local government reform continue throughout the country.
The Ministry of Local Government recently moved its consultations on local government reform to the borough of Point Fortin. Addressing residents, Local Government Minister Dr. The Honourable Suraj Ratan Rambachan expresses his belief that the implementation of performance management systems is key to the improvement of regional corporations and their efficiency. The Local Government Minister says, with or without consultations, this is something that the corporations should look into implementing as soon as possible.
It is about the introduction, and this is modernization, of key performance indicators and performance management systems in the corporations, where people who have to supervise and manage are held accountable for their performance, and that is what is missing. What is missing right now is a performance management system, where people know what are the goals, what are the objectives, and people are held accountable for their productivity. So the quality of management, the key performance indicators, the performance management system, and the development of human resources as a whole, training in the corporations. We do not have to wait for this program that we are talking about to do that. That should be introduced at the level of the corporations by the management of the corporations.
Dr. Rambachan is urging councillors to play their part in the reform discussions. Minister Rambachan explains that councillors, recognizing the importance of the consultations, should seek to ensure that their burgesses' input is given. He commends the few councillors who have done so, but concedes there are others who can take a more active role.
In our Debe area, for example, the people met, the councillors took it upon themselves to meet with their people in their areas. And they then gathered all the contributions they wanted to make. And then the council met and came up with a paper and presented to us. And then somewhere else, I believe it was Arima, or one of those, we got another paper presented us in the same way. So the councillors, Kuva, the councillors went out there and they gathered their people, did the study of the document, and made a written submission. So initiative has to come not just from my level, initiatives come from the level of the representatives also.
The input given at consultations will form a white paper which will be approved by Cabinet and be evolved into a bill to be laid in Parliament for debate. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
And after more than 2 months of consultations, the local government reform consultations have come to an end, and citizens can now look forward to a concise compilation of the views that were expressed.
On Thursday, the Policy on Local Government Transformation and Modernization consultations came to an end at the San Juan Laventille Regional Corporation. The Policy Reform Committee ventured across Trinidad, hosting consultations at each of the 14 regional corporations. The first consultation took place on March 5th in San Fernando and continued from then onward, giving citizens an opportunity to give suggestions and comment on the policy document that was published by the Ministry of Local Government. Chairman of the San Juan Laventille Regional Corporation, Nafisa Mohammed, welcomed the opportunity for the burgesses to share their views.
The whole issue of local government reform is something that we share the view that in our country there is need to revisit and revise our system of local government. And this evening's forum is an opportunity for the burgesses within our region to share their views. At the end of it all, we would leave here with a better understanding and an appreciation of the views amongst us as it relates to the way forward and the type of reform that you would like to see.
Those who attended the final consultation came prepared with their issues and proposed solutions, and as such, the forum was deemed a success. In closing, the Honourable Minister of Local Government recalled a number of the prominent concerns that were raised.
One, constitutional protection for local government, that local government should be enshrined in the Constitution. Secondly, the issue of full-time councillors. Thirdly, what should be the formula for financing local government? How should you determine how much money a local corporation should get, especially developmental funding? Fourthly, should there be an expanded role for local government? For example, in some of the consultations, people said that school buildings and other public buildings should be maintained by local government corporations, funded by the Ministry of Education, because they are closer to where the schools are and the problems exist. Fifthly, there should be a fixed date for local government elections, a fixed date. And so there's no back pocket or front pocket.
Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Coming up after the break, sports. Welcome back. The men of the Defence Force are winners of the 2012-2013 TT Pro League title. They confirmed that status following a 4-0 victory over bottom of the table TN-Tech in the second match of a round 3 match day 7 doubleheader on the final night of this season's championship. Clad in T-shirts printed Digital Pro League champions 2012-2013, the Soldiers were finally exhaling after being chased relentlessly by runners-up Caledonia AIA. But the title was military's to celebrate, since Monday night, despite losing 4-0 against third-place finishers Direct TV W Connection at the Ato Boulton Stadium, because Caledonia, the only team with a shot at the title, had fallen 2-1 in their penultimate match later that night against Central FC. Caledonia, meantime, were 3-0 winners over St. Anne's Rangers in the second match at the Ato Boulton Stadium on Friday night. Stephen David had the Movement Laventil club in front by the 31st minute from the penalty spot, and second-half goals by Jamal Gay and Vulran Mills completed the victory for the second postponed finishers. Trinidad and Tobago has a new national record in game fishing. Angler Brendan Bernard caught a blue marlin weighing 1,005.9 pounds, the largest blue marlin catch on record in a locally based game fishing tournament. Bernard was a member of the Team Abroad Predator, participating in the Tobago International Game Fishing Tournament, which took place from the 9th to the 12th of May 2013.
The tournament began in 1995 at Pigeon Point, Tobago. Only a handful of boats participated, but it proved to be the start of something that has endured and grown well beyond those humble beginnings. Now relocated to the north end of Tobago in the wonderfully friendly village of Charlotteville, the Tobago International Game Fishing Tournament pulls in anglers from near and far, from the Caribbean to North and South America, even Europe. This year, 18 teams participated in the international division and 41 teams in the local division. Game fishing is one of the niche sports being targeted in the thrust to develop sport tourism in Trinidad and Tobago. Gregory McBurney, News 4 Sports.
Time now for another break. When we come back, we take you inside the consultations for the Bamboo Interchange. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The Minister of Works and Infrastructure, Dr. the Honorable Suraj Ratan Rambajan, says government will do their best to respect the needs of the communities affected by the Bamboo Interchange. He made the pledge as the ministry hosted public consultations on the construction of the interchange.
Residents of Bamboo Village came out in their numbers to speak with Minister Rambajan and his team on the proposed interchange. Residents were able to have numerous questions on the works addressed. Speaking to residents at the consultations, Dr. Rambajan promises his ministry will be considerate of the residents and their concerns during the construction.
The purpose of development is, in addition to fulfilling the needs of people, it must be people-friendly, always people-friendly. And that is, the message I have for the people at the Ministry of Works, to do everything in a way that is people-friendly.
The construction of the interchange is part of the ministry's East-West Corridor Transportation Program. The program was developed mainly to implement projects that will alleviate traffic congestion along the corridor. Minister Rambajan heaped praise on the contractors for ensuring that there has been no significant increase in traffic congestion while they currently conduct their works. Minister Rambajan says there are many little things that can be done to alleviate traffic. He insists his ministry will adopt these projects to bring relief to citizens.
And I've asked the Ministry of Works, particularly Roger Ganesh, to look, for example, going down the Raya Butler Highway, and to see whether there are some small projects that can be done to allow people to have easier access to the highway or easier access into places like Macaulay in Claxton Bay, using another lane to be built and so on. Because I believe that while these large things ought to be done and must be done, there are many things that have been neglected in terms of how we reduce the time lost by people in getting to and from their homes. And when there are some very simple solutions that can take place, for example, at the Triangle in Chase Village, a roundabout can be built there, and I know one has been designed. I've asked them to look at that. So I'll be pursuing smaller projects also, a number of smaller projects that will bring sort of immediate relief to people.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
This country's High Commission in England and the United States will now see persons assigned specifically to represent Tobago's interests. The new attaches have met with the Minister of Tobago Development, Dr. the Honorable Delmond Baker, as they prepare to take up their appointments.
Young, vibrant, exciting, and full of ideas, the appointment of Adiola James and Archie Kemba Phillips as Tobago's tourism attaches in New York and London respectively signals a new era in this country's diplomatic arena. The two young ladies, both born and grown in Tobago, will specifically market the island as a tourism destination and investment platform. The minister says the two young ladies have been very well briefed on their responsibilities.
The meeting here is one of a series of meetings with government-based stakeholders. They have, of course, met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is the minister primarily responsible for them, and the Minister of Tourism, who again is very much engaged with all of the tourism-related issues in Tobago. I'm also advised that they are to meet with the Chief Secretary and the Secretary for Tourism tomorrow to again get some direction from the Assembly with regard to the tourism product. Beyond that, they are to engage formally with all the stakeholders on the island of Tobago. I'm not sure if they will do the same for the island of Trinidad, but because of where the navel string is tied, I know that they understand their specific focus will be for Tobago in this arena.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
The Honorable Stephen Cadiz, the Minister of Tourism, says changes to the Lifeguard Act are on its way. The aim is to give more authority to the men on the nation's beaches, enabling them to protect and safeguard visitors at the beach. He was speaking during the opening of the new lifeguard facility in Toco.
Toco Beach, home to the most popular surfing, camping and vacationing spots along the northeast coast of Trinidad, has gotten a new lifeguard facility to aid with a growing influx of tourists. Tourism Minister Stephen Cadiz says the addition of the facility to the beach is part of the ministry's trust at ensuring beach safety for all visitors. The minister adds transformation of the lifeguard service towards international standards is coming.
We intend to have a more visible, effective and agile lifeguard service with modern and appropriate facilities for both men and women, a robust education and training unit, a policy development team, information technology support for reporting and rapid interface, a new vehicle and equipment maintenance team, and a superior management team that allows for growth and upward mobility of all lifeguards.
He says new legislation will soon be laid in Parliament, giving lifeguards the jurisdiction needed for them to issue warnings and preventative measures to visitors at the beach wishing to enter dangerous waters.
Should somebody disregard those that appeal and go into the water, if they get into trouble, guess who has to go in now to go and save them? It is the same lifeguard. And therefore we feel a lifeguard should not be putting himself or herself at any unnecessary risk. And therefore we have to find a way to prevent that. And therefore with the new Lifeguard Act that is going to be coming in very soon, we hope, all of these are issues that are going to be addressed in the new Lifeguard Act.
Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
And that story brings us to the end of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Thank you for watching.